Welcome to another edition of the Gare Bear Review. Yes, we are going over Jurassic Park. Yes, 4, maybe. Sequel, definitely. Prequel, definitely. No, I take that back. It is not a prequel, it is a sequel. Now, what people are saying here in Jurassic Park 4, technically, it is the fourth movie of the franchise, but it is the second. It is the first sequel, so it links up to the first one. Now, that's what people are saying. That's what I saw. But again, look, that basically let's get started with the question that's on everyone's mind. I pretty much said it already because it doesn't have a number technically. There are dinosaurs clearly, either has either a sequel or reboot tendencies, obviously. So, well, what they from what they say and what is shown, it is definitely a sequel. Now, they're saying that it's sequels from the first one. Now, basically, they said it's going to ignore 2 and 3, but what I saw wasn't that at all. The thing is, if you rewatch 1, it works better, at least if it follows The Lost World, which is the second one in the franchise. If you go back and watch it, they literally show you a scale model of what the future park is going to look like. And in Jurassic World, which is this one, it's actually what you saw 20 some odd years ago. Probably less because the second one was later on. But the thing is, here is the Jurassic World. Now, because they're ignoring 2 and 3, they actually give you a nice flow, a decent flow, I would say, to the aspects, thinking of that this is if anything. Here's how I look at it. It's Jurassic Park 1, then this is 1.5, and then there's 2, and then there's 3. But 2 and 3 are separate because this one doesn't link to any of it, because this is pretty much going to end it, because 2 starts off a whole new shit, pretty much, if you think about it. But then again, like I'm telling you right now, I watched 1, 2, and 3 recently before this one. It links up so much better to 2. Like, I can't even tell you on how much that it does. I mean, even if the characters from 2 aren't even in it or even not even mentioned, it works so much better only just because of what happened in San Diego in the Lost World. It just works out so much better just because of the scale model. But I digress. I came in with some expectations, like most of us '90s kids, and well, I say some doubts. Let's be honest here. This franchise is over 20 years old in the making, and it's still going strong. I mean, who doesn't love dinosaurs? Actually, I know 2 people who told me that when this movie came out. I wanted to punch him in the face, but I couldn't. So look, I have loved dinosaurs pretty much since I learned about like these animals in elementary school. And now I love to inform you that I not only did this meet my expectations, but it's exceeded them like tremendously, and I mean tremendously. It's so good, and I know a lot. There's going to be a group of people that are going to tell you otherwise. Most of them are probably going to be like at least in their teens. Basically, anyone younger than the age of 20 are going to say that. Anyone older is either going to love the shit out of this or hate the shit out of it. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I'm on the side that really enjoys this. You know, this I mean, the story is a lot better from 2, and this movie, it works out. It blew my expectations out of the water. But the thing is, like I keep coming back to it. Honestly, the biggest issue I had was that it only sequels 1 instead of 2. The story would have flowed much better, and the modernization would probably be more plausible. Although they do, like I said, there are lines of dialogue and things that are placed in the movie that it says like it took them 20 years to get where they are now. Not to mention they go to Isla New. This is Isla Nublar. They don't go to Isla Sorna, site A or B, or Nublar A or B, I should say. So their B was set. Jurassic Park 3 was actually set on Site B, not on Site A, because they actually do mention that in the movie. So I just want to point that out there now. Now, the thing, now speaking of CGI, because I know somebody said it, speaking of better, or CGI, I should say, or puppetry, the puppetry that was used, or the CGI that was used, was that it wasn't better per se, but it wasn't worse either. So seriously, the dinos in this film were incredible, from the raptors to the T-Rex. I was impressed with it all, and not to mention, not even the dino casting, but the casting of the humans, the casting. I mean, come on. You got, starting with the kids, you got Nick Robinson from Melissa and Joey, and then you have Ty Simpkins, recognizable from Insidious 2 and Iron Man 3. And then there's Katie Morgan from Merlin fame, Vincent D'Onofrio from NCIS or Law and Order, one of those shows. Then you have Judy Greer, Lauren Lampkus. You definitely know Lauren Lampkus. And, of course, you got Jake Johnson. They even brought B.D. Wong. Yes, B.D. Wong came back to play Doctor Wu. Now, he's one of those callback cameos I told you about, and he was one of my favorite ones because I love what they did with the character. Now, here's where it gets weird for that one, for his character, because his character technically dies in the first one. We don't know what happens to him in the first one, in the movie-wise. In the book, he dies. So this is actually interesting to see where they're going to go with his character later on in the films. So again, and we still don't know, because he actually, spoiler alert, he actually tends to survive. So woohoo! And then back to the casting, you have Bryce Dallas Howard, and of course the top Raptor himself, Mr. Star-Lord, Andy Dwyer, Mr. Chris Pratt. Now this was a phenomenal casting for anyone, like in the history of anything, pretty much, at least recently, in recent memory. Because Chris Pratt not only is super talented, he's super nice. He does so many great things, even he does stuff out of his own way. If you ever follow him on Twitter or Instagram or any of those sites, whatever, there's always something about him doing something awesome and amazing, or doing something that's not quite, what most people do nowadays. But Chris Pratt, I love, because I've known him since he was Andy Dwyer from Parks and Rec, probably even before that a little bit. But Andy Dwyer was his first huge role that got him stuff, and then you got Star-Lord, and then he started getting bigger and more famous. Now he's in Jurassic Park, a part of a big franchise, and he's also talks about being in more Marvel movies as Star-Lord, and more, and Indiana Jones. This could not have been a better way, and it's probably one of the big reasons why I enjoyed this a lot. He was hilarious in this movie. He was very funny, just like most of the people who had funny lines in this movie. So I definitely recommend Chris Pratt for any franchise. Fuck The Rock. I want Chris Pratt. I don't care. I'm a huge WWE fan, and I like The Rock, but come on, Chris Pratt is where it's at. And I did not mean to rap about that. Now that needs to stop. Okay, so going back, I digress. Now there was a theory. It's actually pretty funny, because there is a theory about Chris Pratt's character that he was the fat kid in the first one that Sam Neill, publicly destroys emotionally. So it's kind of funny to see that theory put in place through memes and other fun stuff. But yes, I'm going back. The kids were a little bit of annoying at some points. There was a lot of there wasn't a lot of character development for most of the characters here, because if they're going from the first one, there's none of those characters exist except for B.D. Wong and InGen. That's pretty much where it comes from. And they bring back Mr. D&E and all those other characters and stuff like that. But other than that, nothing really big